Um, but it was when I got called up and got to do a few loops on the road. Oh, actually, before that, I remember talking to John Laurinaitis. I had asked him for a raise, and then I got bumped up to 750. Ooh, man, I was now I could afford some extra chicken wings and beer, like because I was living on a budget. And it wasn't until I got called up to the main roster where it was explained to me, okay, now you're on a booking contract. Now you have a downside guarantee. If you're on the live events, you're going to get paid for every live event you're on. You're going to get paid. The whole pay structure's changed now, but you're going to get paid for every pay-per-view you're on, certain appearances. And, that's when I started seeing like, oh, now I'm seeing six figures. And now I meet my tax accountant and this and that. And I had OGs explaining to me about paying your taxes and not living beyond your means and understanding that this is your career now. So, yeah, you still got to be passionate about your career, but this is how you earn your money. This is how you earn your keep. And when I've talked about this before too. A lot of people thought that I got fired from WWE my first run. I asked for my release. I was making, man, my best year, I was just shy of $1 million. It was like 880 or 80, I was doing great. And I took a pay cut. I asked for my release. They were trying to give me a 5-year deal. And I said, no, I don't want to resign. I want to go to Japan because I needed to rekindle my passion because at this point it had become the job. And I saw at that time a lot of wrestlers who were miserable. They weren't happy because of how they were being booked, how they were being used, how we were being treated, and that the WWE corporate culture of that time. And I promised myself I never wanted to be the guy showing up for the check. And I remember, there was, some guys who you would know if I said their names, but, they had kids in private school and, they had an RV and a boat and a house and the country club membership for their golfing and, and they had a lifestyle that they had to maintain. They weren't happy, but they needed it was business. And I asked for my release and took a massive pay cut to go to Japan because I wanted to be passionate again. I stopped being passionate and it just became, I'm going to work. And I mean, once you get in the ring, lace up and that passion is always there, but it just felt different because the love had been almost sucked out of me at that point with just how things were for me at that time. And, the backstage politics and whatnot. I wanted to love wrestling again. So I went to New Japan. And it was a bad business decision, but I felt my passion was rekindled. And my dream was always to wrestle in Japan. I've talked about it plenty of times where my goal was WrestleMania. My dream was Wrestle Kingdom. And I wanted to realize that dream. And once I got to Japan, oh man, I was loving wrestling again. I was making considerably less money, but I had done well enough with WWE that I wasn't hurting for money at all. And I wasn't even taking indie bookings. I was only doing New Japan, which was another business decision that was a bad decision because I could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars at that point from New Japan and taking indie bookings coming right off of WWE TV that I didn't capitalize on. So I figured out once I got called up to WWE and I learned about the business of pro wrestling and then going to Japan and then talking to like some of the OGs who used to wrestle the territories in Japan and the business aspect of it, paying your taxes and taking care of your brand, taking care of yourself physically and respecting the art and loving the passion of your art, but knowing that this is how you take care of your family. So it was a really cool journey, but once I got to WWE, because like I said, I still had that unbridled passion, but that's when I learned about the business. And I said in the episode with Tony Storm, You look at all the fuckery on the indies when there's no money involved. And then once you get up to the major leagues where there's potentially millions of dollars involved, you have to change your perspective and your approach to the game. Because, yeah, this isn't just your passion play anymore. This is how you take care of your family. It's how you pay your bills.